Brought to you by DK Audio.
DK Audio presents Scientists Who Changed History by DK, read by Charles Armstrong. Scientists Who Changed History. Introduction. Science is humanity's ongoing attempt to understand how the universe works. Whether in the form of meticulous research, ingenious insight, or unexpected discoveries, the search for truth continues to challenge, often leading to more questions than answers. Throughout history, humans have always been driven to understand the workings of the world. In their quest for knowledge, philosophers in ancient Greece were the first to try to explain what they observed. However, many of their ideas were inaccurate, as their philosophical method lacked any experimental evidence. Thales of Miletus in the 6th century BC, for example, proposed that water is the primary substance of the cosmos, as he had realized that water is essential for life and that it exists on land, sea, and in the air. 2 centuries later, Aristotle wrote widely on scientific subjects, from physics and biology to astronomy, laying the foundations for much of the work that has followed. However, he also made fundamental errors, such as arguing that heavier objects fall faster than lighter ones, because he relied on thought and argument rather than empirical proof. Despite being some distance from a reliable scientific method in which a hypothesis is proposed, systematically tested, and evaluated on the strength of the results, the early thinkers made vital findings. Halley's comet was observed in China in 240 BCE, and some 300 years later, Zhang Heng explained eclipses and drew up an extensive catalogue of stars. Scientific dawn. While European progress in science stalled during the Middle Ages, the shift of knowledge to the Islamic world inspired rapid advances in scientific thinking. The move of most of the important writings from Greece and India to the House of Wisdom, the library of the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad in the 8th century CE, nurtured scholars such as the mathematician al-Khwarizmi, whose works included trigonometry, algebra, and astronomy, and Alhazen, an innovator in the field of optics, whose studies of dissected bullseyes were the first scientific experiments. Progression of ideas. A mark of a true scientist is the ability to evaluate and revise previously held truths. Today, scientists understand that science is never finished, and that their work might be superseded. In 1590, a major revision occurred when Galileo Galilei disproved Aristotle's theory of falling bodies, instead asserting that objects fall at the same finite speed regardless of mass. Galileo's support for Copernicus's radical idea of a heliocentric universe where the Earth rotates around the Sun led to Galileo being declared a heretic, but it also paved the way for the modern understanding of the universe. Science comes of age. During the 17th century, Isaac Newton precipitated the scientific revolution of the early modern period with his laws of motion and law of universal gravitation, which fundamentally changed the way that humans understood the world. Progress gathered pace during the 18th century in diverse fields, such as geology, with James Hutton's theory of the ancient age of the Earth, and chemistry, with John Dalton's discovery of the nature of atoms. Alessandro Volta's electric battery immediately benefited society and provided a new tool for scientists. Michael Faraday's study of electromagnetism led to the invention of the electric motor, a utilitarian and epoch-making device. In search of truth. Science increasingly changed the course of everyday life through the 20th century. Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin in 1928 saved at least 200 million lives during World War II, while Marie Curie's work in the field of radioactivity has had a lasting impact on medical and scientific research. Meanwhile, Albert Einstein's theories of relativity rewrote the rules of classical physics and introduced entirely new concepts to.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?